Everybody, I just wanted to make a short addendum video to how to manage your allergies holistically. And in this video I want to talk about how to manage flare-ups when they happen. So I live in Sonoma County, where the allergy or the pollen counts can get really high. We're one of the highest places in the country. So in a spring like this spring, where there's been a lot of rain, there's a ton of pollen in the air. So in the last video I talked about being more holistic in your approach to how you manage your immune system, because in the Chinese system they relate to the immune system as holes in the, they relate to allergies as holes in the immune system. Still totally valid. There's three extra things I wanted to talk about in this video. One is relating to yourself, kind of like your immune system, kind of like a container. So if you're eating, easily digestible, super powerful superfoods, and if you've seen the old video on how to analyze your poo, you're actually processing that fully and having a compost-like stool, and you're not eating things that tend to be deadening, like heavy dairy products or heavy processed foods or ice creams, frozen yogurts, sugars, those kind of things. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you're being really clean with your diet, then your immune system is going to be stronger and more solid. So a specific world example for me last night, where my wife is 3 days away from her due date, and I was tired from coming home from work, and so neither of us really felt like cooking and eating super healthy dinner. And so we had some Gouda and grilled cheese sandwiches with some onions, and instantly when I started eating the Gouda cheese, my throat started getting a little constricted, and one of my symptoms of allergies is a throat constriction. So I knew that the cheese had actually started to aggravate my immune system. So, those normal things that just aren't that good for you. If you avoid those during your allergy season, you're gonna be better off. And then here's a couple other things. So that was one thing I want to talk about, is just trying to relate to your immune system like a container, and you're filling it up with good, healthy stuff. But then if you've gone overboard, like I did, I wasn't clean enough in the last few days. So then you have an allergy attack. And for me, it's sneezing fits, just gnarly sneezing fits. Some people it's going to be watery eyes, it's going to be throat, it's going to be runny nose. So I have sneezing fits, runny nose. Then what do? There's a couple of strategies which work really well. One is if you can get yourself to a sauna. So I'm in the sauna. These are the sauna videos that I make. The sauna is amazing on so many levels, and there's all kinds of studies that show that people who do saunas live a lot longer, healthier lives. But the sauna specifically will heat up, and at the same time that it heats up your whole system, it calms and soothes the reactionary portion of your allergic immune reaction. So I was just sitting outside a few minutes ago, and I was sneezing every 2-3 minutes, and I haven't sneezed since the beginning of this video, or since I actually got into the sauna. So one is the sauna. If there's any way you can get to a sauna, I mean, these little infrared saunas, you can get them used on Craigslist, pretty cheap for a pretty small one. You are using a little bit of electricity, so your ecological footprint goes up. If you're lucky enough to have some solar, you could potentially do that. Or if you're full-on rustic, reclaimed person and you're gung-ho, you could use the wood-fired saunas. Those are super awesome. They just take a little longer to set up, so they tend to be used less. So that's the second thing, is if you can get into a sauna. Now, if you can't get into a sauna, even just taking a hot, steamy shower is going to sort of relax the system. So basically that hot flush on the skin, you'll see that if you're aggravated and you put your face in hot water, it's sort of stingy and tingly, and then it slowly sort of calms it down. So it sort of moves the sensation away around from the focalized points like your nose or your eyes or wherever, and creates the sensation around the whole body, which tends to deaden that overreactive immune response. So, filling your container, doing the sauna, and then the third one, I'm lucky enough here in Sonoma County that we have a company called Simplers that, I think that's the right way to say it, that produces high potency herbal tinctures. So they have one that's an alcohol herbal tincture that is a nettle radish. And outside of the chemical, pharmaceutical, anti-allergy medicines, it's the only thing that I found to really deaden or slow down the allergic response, the eyes watering and the sneezing fits and the runny nose. It won't stop it completely, but it will deaden it a bit. And it's the combination of the nettle with a little bit of the nettle, which has the quercetin in it, and it builds up the immune system, combined with a little bit of the alcohol. Alcohol actually will suppress that reactive nature a little bit. That's why, when we have a few drinks, it calms us down. If you have the right amount of alcohol, it's medicine. If you have too much alcohol, it's poison. If you're not familiar, there's the J curve when it comes to alcohol, and it's probably everything. So at this point right here on the J, if you're a man and you're working hard, you're having, let's say, 2 beers, or maybe a glass and a half, a couple glasses of wine, and you're around 200 pounds or something. Down here on the J curve is healthy. But then you go to 3 beers, 4 beers, 5 beers, then it starts whoosh, turning around and becoming unhealthy. So there's a wonderful principle in Ayurvedic medicine that everything in the right quantity is medicine, and everything in the wrong quantity is poison. So, for example, the teacher that I learned that from, he would talk about his master who would eat raw tobacco leaves, which will kill most people. It's toxic to the system to consume tobacco leaves. But he did it in the small quantity, and it was a purgative herb that he would use. So 1, fill up your glass. 2, hot sauna, hot shower, that kind of thing. 3, something like a eucalyptus oil that you can just sniff on to clear the passages. Super helpful. One of the things, this is a little bit of a segue, but one of the things I try to do when I go and I take a sauna is to try to get both nostrils to clear equally. So for right now, the right nostril's more plugged than the left. Some days it'll be totally the left, some days it'll be totally the right, and that's a yogic principle. You want to have the representative of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is, I always get this wrong, I believe is the calming one, and the sympathetic nervous system is the flight or fight one. So the right nostril, I believe, corresponds to the fight or flight one, the more energized one, and the left nostril corresponds to the more relaxed parasympathetic nervous system. So when I take the time to clear both nostrils, by the time I'm out of the sauna, something balancing and healing has happened in my system. So the nettle alcohol radish tincture that I would, they recommend like a dropper. On that, I just take as many droppers as I need until the reaction stops. Now that's a little bit, you're getting tiny amounts of alcohol and radish and nettle, so all of those are having an impact. I'll get a 4-ounce bottle, which is actually pretty expensive, but if I think about it in terms of, I'll miss a day of work because I'm totally fried with allergies. If I keep spending, it's $8 an ounce, so if I keep spending that $32 to dose myself with this nettle alcohol radish tincture, then it's actually worthwhile because I'm not losing a day of work. So, one recommendation, if you're not lucky enough to live in Sonoma County or be able to get Simpler's high potency tincture, it's easy to make a tincture. You could just get from, you can harvest it yourself off the side of the road if you were lucky enough to live in a place where wild nettle grows. Or you can buy it. I like Rose Mountain Herbs or Star West Botanicals, always organic. You get a big, giant thing of nettles and just fill up a half-gallon jar with the nettles and then pour, 80 proof vodka or something really clean on top of that. and then smash it down until it, until you make as much as sort of you want. I'd probably fill the jar up with the nettle, and then fill the alcohol up about halfway, and then pound it down until it's fully saturated. And then I would, well, I wouldn't pound it down. I'd let it sit for a while and see how it sort of sucks up the moisture, and then I would pound it down. And then let it sit for 24, 48 hours, a week. You can let it, there's probably a more accurate number that a herbalist would give you, but it doesn't take too long to get those properties to be sucked out of the plant and into the alcohol. So that's it. That's my recipe for naturally healing allergies. So there's one other thing that I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say, and that's excuse me. As much as I don't believe in pharmaceuticals, probably the only pharmaceutical that I let myself take, unless I was dying from a staph infection or something, and I really had to take antibiotics to not destroy my body, which I haven't had to do yet. But one of the pharmaceuticals that I take, and as infrequently as possible, is Benadryl. And I'll take a Benadryl if I'm really flared up during the day. I'll take it about an hour or two before I go to bed. Kind of dries me out and makes it a little bit harder to sleep sometimes, but just because it's harder to breathe with the dry sinuses and mouth. But it so calms that reactive effect. If I haven't been able to calm the reactive effect with all the natural methods that I know, then I'll take a Benadryl. And I'll take it judiciously an hour or two before bed, and then I'll just plan on sleeping and letting my body calm and relaxed. There's one other thing I guess I need to say about how to heal yourself from an allergic reaction. You've got to get the allergens out of the air in your area. So, for example, in our area, we have mold and pollen. We live in the redwoods, in a zone where there's lots of pollen in the air. So I would go back and forth between the pollen environment and the mold environment. So outside of totally remodeling my house, which I just did, a dehumidifier, if you're in a mold environment, and just you can get them at the thrift store for next to nothing. People use it, they think they're going to use them, and then they just get rid of them. It's just a nice big HEPA filter, and just run that during the day. If you're lucky enough to have some sun go in through your house, if you see dust in the air, you're not running the filter enough. You need to run the filter more. So those are all the strategies that I use, and for the most part, they've been very, very effective. So if you have allergies like I do, don't go to the drugs, man. The drugs mess up your system. All these natural methods are adding to your system. They're filling the immune cup. So thanks for watching. I hope you got value out of this, and we'll catch you next time. Visit the website, wildalive.net, or please subscribe if you liked the information you got here today. One last thing that I forgot to mention in the video is I'm holding the camera rather than it sitting still. That's why it's a little shaky. Whenever I take the sauna, I also replenish myself with a half a gallon of MSM and vitamin C water. So let me see if I can turn this around. Come on, turn around. I'm going to stop it and turn it around. Here's my half gallon of MSM and vitamin C water. See, I've already drank in a quart. It's got a tablespoon of MSM, which is 14 grams. Most people take way too little MSM to actually have a good effect. And then it's got a tablespoon of vitamin C. Not a tablespoon, a teaspoon of vitamin C. My partner likes a teaspoon and a half, but that tends to make my bowels a little too loose. So I've worked my way up to a teaspoon. So last thing that I want to make sure that you know, so you don't try this and then give up, is this stuff will wipe you out. So in a way, you want your body immune system to be wiped out. You don't want it to be wiped out by the immune response. You want to wipe it out with something else. So for example, I used to do a lot of exercise inside a closed room with air filters and air conditioning, or sometimes I would go surfing, which, the salt water is gushing through my sinuses and everywhere. That either one of those things will wipe you out. So you're utilizing your energy in whatever way you can. So this sauna will wipe you out. And also, in combined with the MSM and the vitamin C, that also tends to wipe you out a little bit when you take a big dose in relationship to the sauna. A big dose, for me, a tablespoon is no longer a big dose of MSM, so it's the sauna that really wipes me out. But in combination with that, it does tend to wipe me out a bit more. And then the other thing that I forgot to mention that I do, which works really well, is I'll take not a non-flush and not a time release, but a straight up niacin. Because a straight up niacin will have a similar effect. It's definitely not going to stop your nose from running, but it's going to move the capillary sensations all the way through the body. It's going to open up and refresh all of your blood vessels, which is going to take away that focalized nerve-brain interaction between, you know, your nose or your eyes or whatever that are just like brrr, that are going nuts, or your throat. So last night in my case, I was in my throat, and I took the niacin, and it really helped my throat. Didn't make it go away, but it definitely helped. And then I'm in the habit of, in the sauna, the niacin, the MSM, and the vitamin C. That's my standard cleansing, rebooting medicine that I take, along with some of that eucalyptus oil. So again, thanks for listening. Hope you found it valuable. Please give me feedback. I'm totally willing to change my style and update. I just want I want the information to be useful and get out what I have to those people that want it. Thanks. Have a great day.